Good morning. Welcome to the Williamson County Board of Commissioners meeting today. It's March 27th, 2023. It's 9:08 a.m. Roll call, please.
Tim Atkinson.
Present.
Jim Marlowe.
Present.
Jim Razor.
Present.
Good morning, folks. We're here to talk about the insurance issue that arose a few days ago. But before we get into that, I want to jump down and get to the resolution first. I was asked if I would take care of this first. It's the mobile home tax payment dates and penalty dates. This was brought to us by the treasurer, something that we do every year, right? Maybe this is we do this every year, don't we?
Second dates.
Okay, does anybody have any questions about this?
Move to approve resolution 23-3-27-66, establishing tax dates for mobile home. Second.
Roll call, please.
Tim Atkinson.
Yes.
Jim Marlowe.
Yes.
Jim Razor.
Yay.
Okay. Now for the insurance, like I said, we're going to talk about an increase in our rates for the insurance. And we want to talk about how that's going to affect, what we're going to do about that. And Brett, I think we can hand that over to you to talk about this. Brett, should we get, who here is going to be on the committee? The insurance committee?
I think there's two contracts that require participation.
Mm-hmm.
That is the operator's contract and the FOP contract. It's my recommendation that we try to get somebody from each one of the bargaining units contract, because each office, I think, has a different issue potentially based upon status of the employees, whether they have family, whether they have single, et cetera, as well as affect the potential office holders. So I do want to, before I get into insurance, I reached out, as I said I was going to the union leaders and said, hey, here's what we're needing to do. Apparently, we didn't get any communication out to some of the office holders, so I apologize to the office holders because I think the union members went in and said, hey, I've got a meeting I've got to attend on Monday, and some of them were in the dark, so to speak. So I apologize. We'll make sure that doesn't happen in the future. But that I was aware that occurred when I talked to Travis on Friday. He's like, I just had one of my guys come in and say he's going to a meeting on Monday. What's this about? So I explained that.
He called me on that too.
So, yeah, I was on my way to Kansas to watch a national championship. So I didn't get any other responses out there.
Yeah, we have a national champion in the county.
You do have a national champion in the county. It's a good day to be in the office.
The reason why I asked about the committee members, that was, do we need to have that formalized with a roll call or anything like that for them?
I think because all three commissioners want to be involved with this, the differentiation between a committee and a board meeting is going to be one of the same. Normally, if you have a committee and there's only one of you on it, then you don't have to go through all of the formalities, and we would have a committee roll call, so to speak. So it's really your preference.
Okay.
In your experience, could we get more done more quickly with one board member on and operating as a committee versus doing everything under a board meeting?
As freely as you guys are able to call your board meetings, I don't know that there's a big difference. It may actually go faster with all at the table able to voice the concerns in reality. Normally, the committee would then report back to the full board, and then the board would make the decision. Doing it the way that we're doing today, you would have everybody's idea and input on the spot, as opposed to wait for the committee to go back, talk to everybody else, and then come back again, would be my opinion.
And to that question, I would ask both of you, do you want to be in this discussion?
Oh, sure.
You want to be in the discussion?
Absolutely.
Okay, then we'll keep it then in an open meeting. Okay. All right, that being said, Brett, let's get this thing started if we could.
Sure. So we received notification last week that the insurance rates were going to be going up for the county, and the rates went up depending upon what plan somebody was on. And when I say plan, there's three different ones. There's a Health Link plan, there's a Blue Cross Blue Shield plan, and there is an Aetna plan. Currently, the county has one individual on the Aetna plan and only one individual on the Aetna plan. The bad thing about that is the lowest increase that the county received. It was a 6% increase, and that is quite honestly reasonable in this day and age. The HealthLink insurance plan went up a little over 12%, and the Blue Cross Blue Shield plan went up a little over 22%. So what that means from a dollar wise, get this pulled up here real quick. So HealthLink, for instance, the single coverage is currently at $1,288. Employees are paying approximately $122. And the county is paying $1,165. That's for a single rate. The rates are going to $1,443. The employee then, under the contract of the 9.5%, their portion would go to 137, but I think most of them are capped out at 130, aren't they, Julie?
Mm-hmm. There's two at 130, the rest of them are all 140.
140, okay. So then the county portion would be 1,305. For an employee plus one on HealthLink, currently it is $2,473 a month. Employee portion is $540, and the county portion is $1,933. That new rate will go to $2,771. Employee rate is capped out at the $540, and the county goes up $2,231. The family plan at HealthLink is $3,194. Employee is $640. County portion is $2,554. That new rate will go to $3,579. The employee portion is capped out at $640, and the county portion goes up $2,939. So that one's a $739 a month increase for the county. Blue Cross Blue Shield is currently at $1,093. Employee portion was $103. County portion was $989. The new rate is $1,330. Employee portion would go to $126, and the county portion would go to $1,203. On the employee plus one, Blue Cross is $2,099. $540 is the cap. For the employee, $1,559. That rate would go to $2,554. $540 again is the cap. $2,014 would be the county portion. For the family plan, it's $2,198. Or no, I'm sorry, that's it. It's $2,711. Employee portion is $640. County contribution is $2,071. That plan will go to $3,298. Employee is $640. County will go to $2,658. And then Aetna is $1,145. 108 is the employee portion. 1,036 is the county on single. That rate goes to $1,214. Employee goes up to $115. County goes to $1,098. Employee plus one on Aetna is $2,198. Employee portion is $540. County portion is $1,658. The new rate is $2,331. Employee portion again is capped out at $540. The county portion goes to $1,791. The family plan is $2,840. $640 is the cap. $2,200 is the county portion on family. The new rate goes to $3,011. $640 cap, and the county portion goes to $2,371. So when we got these rates and started looking to see who was on what, and who had what health insurance, et cetera. Again, trying to figure out the increase is significant. The county will be paying over $4 million in health insurance coverage, some of which the employees will pay, but a large portion, as you heard, the county pays. So what we're trying to figure out is what's important to the employees as far as benefit levels. Can we look at an HSA? Can we look at an HRA? Can we raise deductibles? Can we look at different plans? Can we look at different companies? These plans right here are all through CMS, which the county has had for eons. And so just really trying to get some open feedback, because these numbers, not surprising to me in dealing with this on a fairly regular basis. They were gracious enough to give us 1 year after COVID before they decided they were going to hit everybody with big rate increases. That's what you're seeing. So once again, COVID's kind of rearing its head for us. And we've got a wide variety of people across the board on single versus family versus plus one. And so, as I said, every office is affected a little bit differently. We can get some statistical information out, have to redact people's names, but can get you information as far as how many people are in a family plan, how many people are in a plus one, et cetera. So, Julie, do we have?
Did you get this one I emailed to you? You want me to make copies for them? There's no names. It's just who's in what plan.
Y'all ready to actually use some of this one?
I saw the one that had names. I thought.
I sent you this
No,
one.
we have one.
This is the one I made.
Go ahead and make
Oh,
some.
okay.
You want me to make them copies of that?
Yeah, if you could, that'd be great.
So I broke down like each union and who's in what plan, it'll be helpful. And then I put non-union employees down here too. How many's in here?
Can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
I don't like initials, so when you were talking about the 3 policies that we have right now, CMS, what were the other 2 names of the different types of insurances that you were talking about? You said, was it like a group plan?
So you've got HealthLink.
No, not the
You're talking
insurances.
about
we
like-
have.
He was talking about HSA,
Yes.
HRA.
Yes, what, I
So-
apologize,
so-
what do they stand for?
So there's a health savings account.
Okay.
And I'm not an insurance expert. The health savings account, essentially, money goes into a savings account that can be used for a variety of things such as medication, eyeglasses, deductible, co-pays, et cetera. That money's in there. If you don't use your health insurance and your HSA, then that money continues to, some plans have it continue to grow. So who that benefits or who oftentimes will look at that is they'll raise, for instance, they may raise their deductible up to $2,500 or $4,000. I'm never sick. I never use my health insurance. I want to have it. They'll throw money into an HSA. It sits there. And then if they do have a medical issue, they can take money out of there and pay it.
Okay.
Some places will have an HSA that is partially funded by the employer. So where the employer will kick money in, again, lowering the overall monthly known and gambling on whether or not somebody uses it down the road. And then the health reimbursement account is a similar type of plan. It depends upon what, you have to be in a qualified plan in order to be able to participate in an HSA or an HRA.
Thank you.
But I will leave that to the insurance people. I know enough to be dangerous, and that's. Okay, so as you can see, we've got 64 total that are in HealthLink single. We've got 10 that are in plus one, and we've got 20 that are in family. Blue Cross, we've got 61 that are in single, 5 that are in +1, 16 that are in family. And then, as I said, Aetna, we have just 1. So we've got 36 individuals who pay approximately $6,000, $7,000 a year for their family coverage, of which then the county picks up the additional $24,000 per employee. That figure in itself is pretty staggering. And it's a benefit that I know some of you have heard, and we're not here to collectively bargain, and I'm not going to collectively bargain. But you have to look at the total compensation package of some of these positions rather than just the hourly rate, because it's a significant amount of money. And I know you can't go out and you can't buy a car, you can't buy groceries with that, but it's still a cost. So as you can see, we've got a lot of people on health insurance, which is a good thing, and it's great that the county provides it. But now with the costs escalating, it used to be we were talking $230 for health insurance, and now we're talking 5 times that amount. So it's a large number, guys. So I think where the county board is looking at or wanting to look at is what plan options do we have out there. Obviously, we've got an Aetna plan out there. It is the lowest cost for an employee and for the county. But as you can tell, there's one person on that. There's a reason. Okay, let's face it, there's a reason.
You got it?
I have one other question, and I won't say anything else for long. Does the county get any type of discount? Like last year, it was my understanding that they tried to get more people to go to Blue Cross Blue Shield, but they didn't really advertise it because at that time it was cheaper. If you just had one plan like the Blue Cross Blue Shield or the Health Link with all the employees on it, would the county get a discounted benefit for that or not?
I don't believe so.
I'm afraid if we stick everyone on one plan, it's gonna skyrocket next
Okay.
year.
Let,
Because most people did move to Blue Cross last year, and they had the biggest increase this year.
okay, let us,
So, that's my concern.
That would be my guess, Indy, is that the reason you saw a 6% in Aetna is they're not dumb. They ran the numbers and said, we got one person here, so we can go 6% and be okay.
Okay.
But Blue Cross took the biggest bump.
Every new employee we had last year just Blue Cross.
And I don't know how it is, how they calculate this rate. I know that there are 2 different ways that the insurance companies do these. One is an age-based rate, and the other is a composite rate, but it still uses the same age-based rates. So somebody that is later in their years will have a higher premium amount.
hush now, hush
Jump-
now.
What's that?
I said, hush now.
Oh, no, I'm very cautious about that as I get to the same. But I know that that's, even with like my firm's insurance, the older employees in the office, their premiums will go 14, 15, 1,600 a month, where the youngers are going 500, 600 a month. And if you do a composite rate, then they take it's all the same figures, and then they average it out and say, okay, this is how much it's gonna cost to add a new employee, which is what the county does, currently. So that's how these rates are set, is it's based upon an average of the cost of the existing employees at the time of the renewal. The other way you could do it is you could do an age-based, and at the age-based, then if you bring in a younger employee, that rate is lower, but then if you bring in a veteran employee, that rate is higher. And so, again, you do or die with it because you pay the same. So there's, like I said, there's a lot. I don't think anybody on this board nor myself is an expert in insurance, and we just need to figure out how we need to look at this issue and how we can try to figure out a solution that still takes care of the employees, but also helps the finances. Yeah.
Who's bargaining or who's doing the brokering to these insurance companies? Are you the board, or do we have someone doing it for us?
We've not done that at all at this point in time. We're trying to figure out, I guess, whether or not that's where we want to go.
Okay.
I think that's how the commissioners are wanting to look at it. No, I will not be the broker on this, I can promise you that.
These rates are coming directly from the insurance company to the board.
This is straight from the state of Illinois.
Straight from CMS.
And this, and the county's not, I can't even say this is a claim-based, because I think all entities that are on CMS are getting the same information.
Basically, how CMS works is they give you a grade. So it's like you're an A plus or you're a C, and luckily we're an A plus. Like, I saw the C rates, and oh my gosh, I mean, luckily, we are okay there. So I mean, if we were a C, it'd be even,
Yeah, and that's based upon claim history.
yeah, so I mean, luckily we are an A plus.
Do we know what other counties are doing? Or, because if it's
I think
CMS.
everybody's seeing these same costs.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's seeing increases for sure. We've got counties that are doing, a pseudo self-insured plan. Saline County just went to a semi-self-insured plan in which they have a stop loss and they set rates out. Jackson County just got out of their self-insured plan 3 years ago. They went to, and I know everybody in this room is aware of it, they went to the Hope Trust, which is a conglomeration of a bunch of governmental entities that have kind of put their own pool together and share in the risk of the health. And other than that, you're stuck at, Christian County, for instance, they were with Blue Cross, but then Blue Cross cut out Springfield Clinic, which is Christian County's up in Taylorville, which was a big deal. They said, we're not going to have you as a preferred provider. And so they were going to then switch to, another company because most of their employees. So everybody's a little different when you get through it. And I think the biggest thing is to know what the employees are wanting. Do you want the most broad coverage? Because I can tell you with Aetna, the reason why you don't have the participation is they shrunk their network. So you can't go to potentially the same doctor that you've always gone to. And so that's a big factor for a lot of people to consider. Some people say, I don't care. I'll go to whatever doctor I need to go to as long as I don't have to pay anything. Well, okay, that's so all of those mentalities, kind of change things up a little. Obviously with Heartland being bought out by Deaconess, that's going to change the scope of the healthcare field, hopefully for the better, in the local Williamson County. Then you've got SIH that nobody seems to know what exactly is going on. Obviously, you've watched the news and read the newspaper and saw the mass exodus that they've had of some people as well. So there's a lot of things at play, and I think the county's just trying to figure this out.
Complicates it too, it's just the healthcare itself.
Yeah, healthcare costs and pharmacy costs that's another factor is, how much of the prescriptions, are coming into play with this.
Healthcare has changed over the years.
It has. We have the complicating factors, like you said, Deaconess and SIH both being in turmoil. So what needs to be our next step in this?
Well, I think we need some feedback from where you guys are at, or at least even a knee-jerk reaction as to what's important or what you've heard. I know this isn't the first time in the last 6 months that health insurance has come up, and I know this is the first time that we've brought people in to have the conversation. So if you're hearing anything, rumor-wise or question-wise, or, hey, we know we don't want this, or that's what I think we've got to have an open dialogue on so that we do know how do we go out and find options. Sean, that becomes the question for any type of a broker down the road is, what are you looking for? You can't just say, well, I want to pay the least amount. Well, there's sacrifices. It's like buying a car.
You hit the nail on the head from a house big side. Deaconess is going after us. That's just come to the writings on the wall. So I'm with you, they're gonna be flexing huge in this area, so that is something else to consider.
There are those things that happen.
Have you thought about just a generic questionnaire to all the employees and then, because I know that you don't want 200 employees at a meeting, but if we had something to show them, like, my bargaining unit is 9, Sean's is 5 or 6, but there's some offices that are really big, that way you could have, we'd have some actual data, from the employees that, they wouldn't have to, could be just a generic one, they don't have to put their name on it, and have like 5 or 6 questions on it, and then that would give you.
I think before we do something like that, we probably ought to talk about what a health savings is, what health
Yes, I mean.
reimbursement is,
Right,
because you can't really take back, excuse me, this information to your people without actually knowing
right,
all of the different things that are on the
Exactly.
table for us
I
to
agree,
talk.
I agree.
So,
It's kind of like if it's not broke, don't
We can.
fix it. Health Link, Blue Cross Blue Shield
yeah,
Find out.
were brought to
That we
us.
have the information. So
And I've always had Health Link and loved it, but if,
One sheet.
at that point in time,
Yeah, just
Blue Cross Blue Shield was cheaper, and I didn't know that, or I would have switched, I don't know if you heard me on that.
yeah, I heard, yeah. So the board is thinking right now that we could put out like a simple one-sheet summary. These are the things that we're looking at. These are the things that are going to be available, possibly available. So like something we can do there?
that way it wouldn't get lost in translation.
Exactly,
Versus to the
exactly.
next.
Exactly. I think that would be very beneficial.
But I think that's the key of your participation in this is to kind of give us back the feedback so that we're not relied upon, well, I didn't know this, or I wasn't told that. That's the goal of the committee, and the clauses contained in the contracts is so that the employees know. And then if we have to go back and deal with, and I told all the unions that I spoke with last Thursday, if we're looking at changing contribution rates, et cetera, that's a bargaining issue. And at that point in time, we will deal with the union representatives directly for that process. The other bad thing about this is timing wise, these new rates are set to take effect June 1. So that's the reason we called the quick meeting, is because we don't have a lot of time to try to explore what options are out there. And a lot of you have contract negotiations coming up, and this is a chunk of the pot of money. And so if we can help everybody, then that's the better way to go. But Julie gave us the rates as soon as she got them, and as soon as we got them, we said, okay, here's the meeting that we can do and we need to do. So, like I said, we're trying to react as quickly as possible.
Ashley?
You'd be better to focus on the HSA. HRA is just a reimbursement account. Only benefit is pre-tax money you're withdrawing to be able to pay for those. And then there's caps on the amount that you can put in there, and that really doesn't apply to the premium. So
Understood.
I know you made it, but I would focus on the HSA side, because that's the one where you can possibly reduce the overall premium. But you have to be fully understanding that that's more of a catastrophic plan. So again, you're going to be paying that end result of that $2,500, possibly a $500 or $7,500 total out of pocket, expense. So you've got to have that money put back or be able to, absorb that to be able to get that benefit. But you can get one pagers on HSAs pretty easy.
And the plans that I've seen that have the HSAs usually will have some element to where that will higher deductible, lower monthly premium, and then the difference between what is currently being paid and the lower premium amount. There's usually a factor that the county will say, okay, we're going to commit this amount to the HSA on an annual basis. Again, realizing a portion of the savings from going from a low deductible plan to a high deductible plan but betting on the employee has a little bit of skin in the game as well. And I don't have the history here from a medical standpoint. I've had counties and municipalities in which, rates were rising because they were going and getting a massage every week and it was considered chiropractic care and, and those types of things. So I don't show, or I don't know, as I sit here, that there's abuse going on per se. Obviously, Julie says we've got an A+ rating. So that would tell me that from a medical necessity issue, we're not having large claims. Because that's the other thing that can obviously raise it. We've seen that with work comp. To where the more claims you have, the higher your rates go. So I can't even say that this is an overuse issue. This is just COVID and time has caught up to
This
us.
is just a cost issue, just going up, just the way it is, it's going up.
The other thing to consider, unless things have changed, like for an HSA, each individual's gonna have to open up their own HSA account. Like the county's like, unless they change the requirements.
No, you can do an HSA in the county.
Can be the administrator
Yeah.
and parcel it out for everybody?
Yeah, okay. Or yes.
I didn't know, used to, you had to open up your own individual.
No, because you have to have somebody that's validating the qualified expense usage in order for the HSA to work.
So are we talking as an administrator, are we talking? Because
Okay.
some HSAs,
Some of the
have-
HSAs have their own administrator included
It's a
in the
third party,
plan.
yeah.
Right.
So, okay.
Yeah.
So that would be stuff you would need to make sure or
Yeah, no, absolutely.
figure out because, again, there's another expense if you're adding a third party administrator. I don't think that Julie wants to be the administrator over 200+ people's, HSAs and determining qualified, non-qualified expenses.
I think that will shake out once we find some companies to talk to. Okay, we can put together a questionnaire. Any responses? Anything else that you guys can think of?
I didn't get to talk to all my guys at the highway department, there's 27 employees, and what guy that didn't come to me on this, their biggest concern was, as far as like you said, it has shrunk the amount of doctors you can go to. Some of them, because I think some of them had like, not workers' comp, but just in general surgery, and they went to St. Louis, now they're gonna get fined too here. That was some of their concerns as far as the doctors being in the system. Which, is that gonna shrink dramatically, or are they gonna still be able to? That was one of their things they brought up. But like I said, I haven't got to talk to.
In the state of Illinois recently, just do a simple Google search, you'll find the articles, switched all the retirees to the Aetna plan, and all of them vocalized their displeasure with that and the reduction of the network. So I know that that's an issue out there for Aetna. When we first got the rates and everybody was like, well, why isn't everybody going to Aetna then if it's the cheaper? There's a reason. And again, that's the sacrifice that I guess we need to know back is what is the willingness, to try to reduce, because there's going to have to be some form of a change or a transition in order to have a safe. If not, I can go and talk to Tom Couch and say, hey, what's your Blue Cross rate? And it's going to be the same as what the state of Illinois is giving us. If there's not, it doesn't matter what local insurance agent you give, they're still quoting Blue Cross, still quoting Healthly. So, we've got to think outside of the box of those because we know those are those rates.
So with that, what you just said, is the board trying to completely get rid of Blue Cross Blue Shield and Healthline?
We haven't decided anything yet. Today is literally our first conversation on this. There's nothing happening yet.
Because within those, what's the deductible right now, Julie?
Well, now we don't have a deductible, we just have a co-payment,
So, that,
just if you have.
that's the first element to look at is, it's really kind of unheard of as far as having no deductible. Most places will have a $500 or $1,500 or $2,000 deductible. Some will have a $4,000 deductible. You know, so again, how that works is you've got your max out of pocket and you've got a deductible. So you can have a 500 deductible and a 1,500 max out of pocket. So the first 500 is yours. The next 1,000 is split 80-20 or 90-10 or however it's set up. And then after you hit that 1,500 mark, it's gone. But then that dramatically lowers the rates, you know, from the insurance standpoint. So that's another option that you can look at. And I mean, like I said, there are so many things to look at, but what's important is to know, is network big? Is deductible big? Is copay big? Is prescription? You know, all of those things, there's too many factors. And, you know, we'll send out the surveys and we'll find out what's important, but you're gonna have a mixed bag. And so somebody eventually is gonna say, well, they didn't care what I thought. That's not true. We're just trying to weigh in the majority.
So you haven't ran the prices with the current companies with higher deductibles?
We just got this Thursday.
We just got this last
Wednesday.
week. So immediately this is why we're here. We
Right.
simply is not a, we're just informing everyone what's going on.
The whole dynamics of the world, so to speak, has changed, and you guys know it just as we do. It's hard to get employees, even for jobs like this. When I started 100 years ago, there might be 20 people send in a resume for one job. We have jobs open right now in our office that we can't fill. But one of our sticking points that when we do get somebody that's interested in is we have good insurance. I mean, we're under, we're a little over minimum wage in our office for the legal secretaries. But the people we're hiring right now, they look at the big picture and they say, I've got some insurance, I got some good insurance, our salaries are low. We're going to be negotiating with you guys soon on that. But, the insurance is very important to.
And we fully understand that, we understand that's
Yeah.
that's a point that helps bring in new employees to our county.
I'm gonna be
Health
retiring in a
insurance and
couple of
also
years, so,
The IMRF retirement.
I am looking at the young people that we're trying to get in to take over and stuff. And the county, I preach it. I said, hey, we got great insurance coverage here. Think about that when you're thinking about taking a job, with the county. And I'm sure all the other departments, I'd say we have officers coming to the sheriff's department, from other departments for that insurance. And I just really try to stress to you, gentlemen, that I know it's hard for the county to take this money, but this cut or whatever you want to call it, that, your employees really count on the insurance.
Well, all three of us are on the insurance list. So, we will experience everything that everybody else in the county experiences. Does anybody have any other input and today? Commissioners, do you have anything you'd like to say? We are going to, let's get this questionnaire put together.
I think with the timetable we're looking at, this needs to be a fairly regular meeting. That's what I'm saying. We get some things ironed out.
We set up our every Wednesday. And so it's.
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah. Jim's gonna be out of town.
I'm gonna
We
make
need
you
to
guys
get
a copy of
documents
this, it's
out.
like the current rates and then the new rates and like what the county.
I tell you what.
are, so just wait a minute. I'll make you guys-
We've got a meeting, we have a meeting scheduled for next Thursday afternoon. And if we can get some stuff together, then that might be the time. And we have a second meeting, it may not be, depends on whether or not we can get this together. We are gonna move fast.
We appreciate it again.
Well, what I'm thinking is that we might, Greg, can we add this down to the bottom, miscellaneous self-insurance
Yeah.
discussions?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then that way we don't have to put out a specific agenda. We can notify and put it out.
So we just want an agenda item if any action is going to be taken.
Right, Yeah, if any action is going to be taken, we'll have to have it listed as an item for discussion.
If you want two documents, like a one-sheet summary and a short questionnaire.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes. If possible, I mean, that way they know from you guys exactly what is going on, and we do too, so.
Yeah, because I think we can't have a lot of opinions really until we even know what you guys are considering. And I think more appropriate to go, well, we would, of the lesser of two evils, we would like to see this one over this one,
You hit a key word there that there are 177 employees on insurance right now. But there are 177 opinions of what I want.
Right.
And as we try to plow through that, hopefully everyone understands that, but
Yes.
there's going to be a broad variety of
Sorry. If we can get this sufficient, I would say,
Push it to next week.
push it to next week, yeah.
If something may change, we might get more information.
Expect a meeting next week. Okay, there's a lot of stuff going on this week.
What should we do though, being cognizant of the office holders, and we've only got one here, two here today. Oh, sorry, 3 here today. I want to be cognizant of pulling employees away from the workforce
Right.
so that the office holders aren't saying, hey, we're meeting and now I've got people out of the office, I can't get stuff done because I've got that. So I don't know how we need to open that dialogue, but I think it's important.
Okay, so we'll reach out to the office holders. You got anything else?
Ray, who did you reach out to from the circuit court's office for this?
Jack,
Who's the union?
let me see what Jack said.
Yeah, it's labor.
Oh, labor.
Jack was going to reach out to his steward over there, but she may not have been there today. So Sean and I have to get back to, Jack Skelter, and so we can send that to.
Mindy, here's a copy.
Okay.
I mean, that's sizable unit for you, I'm surprised they're not here.
Now, Jack, what's going on?
Yeah, I don't have it with me.
I'll talk to Justin,
But yeah, no, I reached out to Jack and
Yes,
specifically said, hey, here's what we're looking for is one from each contract, not just each union. Each contract is what I wanted to.
and she may have not been able to get away. He did send us, CC'd us with your email, so that's why Sean and I were here. And I, let, Ted know on the jail list that we were going over there, and he didn't know anything about it, so.
well, kind of do that.
Kind of that.
Sheriff yelled at me, but that's.
All right, does anybody else have anything else? Commissioners, do you have anything else?
Yeah, I do. It's not related to this.
Okay.
I got a follow-up email from that Rudy Potteroff about the Williamson County's been selected for the priority funding for its wellness program.
Yeah.
And he was wanting to know.
Oh, no, there
some
it
dates
is.
as far as he could give a presentation.
If you need to
I
leave,
was gonna say, are we done?
yeah, we're done with the
You're done with
insurance.
that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
If you want to answer
I see it, sir.
What's that?
We went to the tribute competition Friday, politicians versus priests. Me and Razor to Joe Street. So everyone knows.
You're a politician now?
Well, by definition, because I have to run for office, but otherwise, you're right. But yeah, it was, you guys would have got a kick out of it. They started the whole competition We got the MC, y'all sit at home and complain about your local politicians and say they're a bunch of idiots. Well, here's your chance to prove it. Go out there and beat their team tonight. And they lost. You found that quite.
Well, I'm glad you guys, pick up for us there. Show them that we're not.
And Razor got two right the whole night. He did awesome.
About 200.
There were no weather categories. So I'm screwed with Razor.
All right, thanks, Ted.
See it. He said it'd be about a 30 to 45 minute, video, or Zoom meeting. He said the 27, 28, 29. I don't think any of those days. So, I didn't know. Set up another meeting or say like come that Wednesday morning,
On which Wednesday?
next Wednesday morning.
On April.
Yeah, since we're meeting in the afternoon.
Yeah, you want to have a meeting next Wednesday morning? And who is this now? This guy was,
That's John Potteroff. It's the organization with that community wellness program that we've been, we're eligible to receive a $750,000 grant. Wellness program. He wants to explain it to us. There is a time limit, I think, probably near the end of April.
Yeah.
Whether we look interested, you want to be the 5th? That would be on the 5th. Yeah, we're supposed to meet that afternoon or to discuss this, the health insurance. So I thought in the morning, they keep it totally separate. We're going to be here anyway. What time?
10 o'clock.
I'll reach out to them to see if that'll work and I'll let you know.
Okay, you'll have to do it.
I'll take care of that and I'll let you know if that'll be okay with you. So tentatively, 9 o'clock.
In the afternoon
10.
meeting will be.
10 o'clock. 10 o'clock.
10 o'clock in the
Yeah.
morning. In the afternoon will be the
Yeah.
insurance meeting.
What time on that, 1:15?
1:15. Yeah, we'll keep that the same. I don't see. I have every Wednesday open in the afternoon after that. If we want to make that a great meeting.
I think it'd be great. I think it's something we should take care of and sit on top of it.
We got to stay on top of this, we just don't have time.
Any others take care, take the backseat for it.
Well, once again, I'm not interested in that part of it anytime soon. Okay, so we took care of mobile home taxes first, actually made that for me. Thanks, guys. Is anybody, public comment, anybody on? Is that 2 people watching? Okay. Can they make?
Over in the corner, they can, in the bottom corner.
Okay. What's that?
I guess I don't see.
Next to the time.
Oh, up there.
Yeah.
Ah,
Two people.
she's at the bottom corner.
That's where you make a comment.
So I guess we asked them if they had any comment.
They
Anyone on Zoom?
can make comments. Okay, hearing none, does anybody have anything else?
Watch it. See.
Did you get the wire for Baxter signed?
We signed the claim
You
last
approved it,
week.
but I never got the claim back. You didn't do the wire, so that's why. Where's it at?
You signed it, didn't we sign that last week?
Again, the last meeting,
Yeah.
Is it in?
I don't know, I
I'll check
can
with
check
Sarah.
that Sarah and see if it's downstairs, you can check in here.
Did we want to discuss though how we're gonna, I guess, or who is gonna contact the office holders and,
I'll contact the office, so I'll send them an email.
okay.
I'll contact them. And then as far as putting together I guess we should talk about who's gonna put together the questionnaire and the information sheet.
Yeah, We can put that, yeah, I can put that together,
Okay.
that's not an issue. I don't know about the summary sheets, I think you just,
I'll get with Red, yeah, I'll get with Red on that and work with that. Should we start looking for companies to come in and make a pitch to us? Are we to that point? We're gonna run out of time, I'm afraid.
Well, I mean, the point was raised here, so it's already out. I mean, we need to hear ads and deductibles. What will they do to rates?
yeah.
I have been on the other side of this, and a change in deductibles, sometimes you think that's hard to swallow, but what it will do to rates makes it tolerable.
Yeah.
If you're a healthy person, it makes a real difference.
Right. The difficulty with that though is that the change in rates will be minimal because you're only talking 9.5% of whatever that rate change is what the employee feels. The rest of it's the county. That's the difficulty.
Well, and maybe it's just to get the numbers to a different point.
Yeah.
But we need the numbers.
Yeah,
I can't make any decision without more numbers.
no, absolutely. Absolutely.
Do Amanda and I need to have a representative here? We're non-union. I mean, but
Yeah,
also,
you can.
also to be fair to the employees, if,
Right.
does it matter? I mean, all the people that were here were bargaining unit people. But, I mean, I don't have a problem asking my office if they want to have a representative up here, but at the same
I
time,
think it would be,
does it
You
really
can have a
matter?
person,
So
there,
it's-
absolutely.
because it affects everybody.
It affects
Union,
everybody.
not union.
And we'd like somebody to take the information back to your office too.
Like I said, this one moved fast just because of the urgency of the rates.
So can I like throw out two
Yeah.
ideas or private sector solutions that have happened? Just something to consider. I know you mentioned about the HSA, and you have people that, where the employers put a certain amount of money in. I've also worked in positions in which they had an overall larger deductible. But the employer will pay he maybe mentions, they'll pay the difference. So if you had a $2,500 deductible, and you can determine on whether or not it's for the entire plan or just for the individual that works here. But like one place I worked at, you had a $2,500 deductible, but they would pay up to $2,000 towards that deductible in a calendar year. So you were still able to get the benefit of the higher deductible, but you're also playing the odds of whether or not you have to actually dump that in. When you look at overall percentage of employees, you know, if you maybe had 75 employees that had the plan, you might only be paying out $2,000 for 5 of them. And maybe a $500 or whatever combination for maybe a third of them. So that's an added benefit savings to the employer side. But they're still keeping the deductible or the premium down on that side. But you've got some built-in laws of averages and things like that you're able to absorb and have a different trust account that you kind of a pseudo self-insured type thing when you put money into that. And I didn't mention this in front, maybe I should have, but maybe in the next meeting to keep in mind that levy is subject to PTEL.
Yeah.
You can only go, you're gonna have the 23-24 levy coming out. There will be some things that will be new growth, everything coming on, but you're talking 22% or 9%. You're likely we're gonna get maybe 7 or 8%. So we're not gonna be able to absorb all that onto that side. So it can't be a total employer cost. You're gonna have to pull it from somewhere else outside of the levy function.
Even if we keep the new growth.
Yeah. I mean, technically TIF 1's coming out, but,
We have obligations.
we have obligations for that money, assuming that you have bond repayments, you're gonna have to have a secondary source, which is that bond, which is that actual guaranteed levy extended money. So even though there would be an alternative revenue source that's going to be the primary, in order to be able to get those underwritten, you have to have a guaranteed second, guaranteed payment source, which is that levy function. So yeah, so even if you pull in, even if the total growth was 15%, I mean, based off of tip one rolling out, everything else, that's a one-time, jump. But that has been earmarked, I mean, for another debt, outside of the insurance debts that, now that we're creating, so. There's just not, the pool of funds is not going to grow infinitely to be able to offset those increases.
No, there has to be a change in this.
And if we get to that point, if we need to get Amanda and Alex and myself to figure out what that potential growth is and what, the percentage of increase is, so that you can work backwards into a number of, here's what we can come up with, but then here's the gap. And this is where we've got to find some kind of common ground to be able to meet this need. I mean, we could work on that. I'm sure Alex has an idea of what, that's going to create.
Well, I think meeting like this will help smooth that transition.
Right. I just didn't want to get too deep in the weeds of,
Yeah.
and I mean, this is the cursory one, but if we need to gather that information for future discussions, we can work on that too.
And who's to say that our increase won't be the same next year?
Oh, I know.
And so we're gonna still be in the same boat. We have the same plans. We have no idea what it'll be next year, how we sustain everything going in. All right, does anybody have anything else?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Tim Atkinson.
Yes.
Jim Marlin.
Yeah.
Jim Raisin.
We're gonna get